The video today is based around this process that I brought into a workshop, I think last month, around sacred reclamation. So it was a workshop where we had cacao, a bit of movement. I did one of my healing journeys, but we had a workshop component in it, which Sacred Reclamation does, and it's a part of this event that I love, is that it gets to become interactive. And so every time we do these events, that section, the workshop section, will always be something different. So from the last one, I wanted to bring a little bit of that in so you can get an idea of some of the things that I try and teach or that we discuss in that space. Remember, reclaim, and embody. And so through those processes, to remember that we are energy before we're matter first. We find ourselves in a different space of observing and a different space to answer these prompts or questions from. So when we ask what isn't working for us, what's not working in my life right now, it could mean the house I live in. There could be physical aspects. But what I'm talking about, to go deeper into, is these sensations, what's not working. Maybe it's not communicating your needs. So it's not so much what's in the external, it's brought to like what's really showing up on the internal that obviously is reflected outside of yourself in situations. So from there, we start to get an idea of what's showing up in our external from whatever we're holding on the internal. So what's not working about that? There's the thing we need to shift. So the next question would be, where am I giving my energy or my power away? So we start to see any parts of this pattern, parts of what's not working for us right now. We start to shift our awareness to, why are we doing those things? Why do we need to reclaim that part back and take responsibility for it? And so when we start thinking back to, where has this happened before? Where is this pattern showing up? Where is this pattern showing up in different parts of my life? We find the pattern. So for example, you might do things at the cost of yourself. So you're self-sacrificing a lot. And really where this pattern comes from, it might be a really deeply ingrained pattern where you learnt to do those things so you could receive love as a child or something like that. So we start to see how the pattern has evolved, and then we start to observe the strengths and the weaknesses to this part that's showing up through the pattern in your external world. And so the deepest part of you might, this part might be very giving, very nurturing. So these are the strengths of that part. The weaknesses of the part might be that they can't quite discern when their capacity is running out. They can't say no, things like that. So we just become clear what to keep, what we can start to let go of within that part. So the realizations, as we start to become curious, and there's never a wrong answer to this part of the workshop. What are the needs of this part we're asking to come back, or the power or energy that's ours, that's out there? How do we call that back in, and how can I give to this part what it needs from self? So higher self is now being able to observe and see this part as it is and really give it what it needs. And so I like to finish all of this processing with the mantra. So this is the embodying part. So even though you've processed all this stuff, a simple mantra can bring all of that into what you're embodying. So if it's aligned with the heart, maybe it's a simple mantra, but a powerful one of, I am love. And so you're remembering that the essence of you is unconditional, it is love, and there's no conditions put on you actually receiving anything. There's no conditions on you having to give at the cost of yourself. Things like that. So we start to call and command all the energy back, and then we drop into a beautiful healing journey. And I find this whole workshop with the cacao infused with it as well. It's quite a beautiful afternoon. It's 3 hours. So that was the gist of the workshop that we did last time. This one will be more around, we're talking more about creating space, remembering who we are, moving away from tribal tendencies a little deeper to figure out what our truth is, our self-identity, and what our values are, so we can begin to start thriving and coming out of any spaces of victim or survivor spaces and really thriving now. So the next workshop is more based around that. Next Sunday, the 20th of November, and it is in Perugian Beach Community House. It's a really beautiful space. So excited to hold this really nurturing, restful, receiving afternoon for all of you that are called to come. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to either me or Terri Scott, who's holding the event as well. I'll put some details in the post, and we'll see you there.